All right, this is Jamie George. He is a X29 pastor in Franklin, Tennessee. And Jamie has a unique story. He has had a church merger in his history. And so I want to ask him, starting off, what are some principles as a guy who's planting that maybe another church has approached them about merging that you could give to help that man evaluate the process?
If there's one thing I'd say is go slow, ask lots of questions. And one of the reasons it worked for us is they did not have any structure in place. It was about 150 people, very arts-driven, very gifted, who really gathered on Sunday. So there weren't sacred cows to kill. Even though the church was about 8 years old, there was nothing to go slaughter. They were longing for structure and vision. Tim is a gifted artist, and so that was reflected in them. And it was something that we kind of had a lot of the suburban, vice president, soccer mom kind of thing. He had all these artists. So it's an interesting, the first day together was an interesting piece to set these guys, this guy's tatted and got piercings, and this guy's got the starched collar. And it's become a beautiful part of our story that continues to this day. But it worked. Tim's dad was a pastor for years and years, and Tim said, the reason I think this, Tim's dad said, the reason I think this works is because you were friends.
That's good.
And we were. Yeah. And to this day, I just have a love for Tim, and he does for me. Tim stayed on staff for 6 months, wound up going on to do a nonprofit ministry, stayed on as an elder for 2 years.
Is that right?
And wow. Tim sits to this day on the front row and cheers me on. That's great. In the place that he used to stand. He rarely ever preaches. Yeah. And sits on the front row, and it's his humility. And the fact that there just weren't sacred cows to kill. I think those are the two things.
If you had one thing to tell church planters, be they prospective or just a couple of years in, what would be that one thing that you would tell them?
It would be learn how to listen. Because when you're in ministry and you do life with people long enough, you begin to see people, behavioral patterns. It's not that hard. After a while, we can go, dude, if you would try this or do this, it's so easy to kind of offer advice or to be directional, and yet there's so much more to be learned in the struggle and in the tension. And so for me, I've really just tried to go, God, would you make me a better listener? And maybe, there were times I would go, I bite my tongue, what if I didn't say anything the entire conversation, but just nod and listen? And you try that, and it's amazing how someone will leave and go, wow, I feel so much better. You didn't give me any advice. You just listen. I heard a poet once say, telling our stories is like cleaning out the compost of our souls. And I think it's true. And a lot of times, people just need to listen.
That's good.
Yeah.
Well, Jamie, you'll have some good listeners on these blogs, and I appreciate your time.
Thank you, bro.
Thanks a lot.
Appreciate it.